Sunday on TV 33, FM 88.1 WHR and Comcast 80. So why don't you call and let's discuss the Holy Bible, run, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their true meaning. So Sunday, Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man. Every Sunday at 12 noon, right here on TV 33, FM 88.1 and live on the air at every code 0342 and 868 of course, the area code 3. That's 313-868-4368, 868-0354. And now let's go live. Scriptural discussion of the man.
In the name of Allah, beneficent, the most merciful, the truth, I agree, and the greeting words of peace from the Lord of the worlds. May us, salam alaikum. Brothers and sisters, we have a guest today, and his name is Mr. K. Beauchamp, and is an award-winning film maker. Keith attended Southern University in Baton Rouge, where he studied criminal justice with the intent of becoming a civil rights. But as a young man, as a young Louisiana Beauchamp, it ends with racism. It wasn't until an incident where he was assaulted by an undercover police officer after dancing with a woman at a party that he felt compelled to fight right to New York. It was here he could pursue a dream in becoming a filmmaker. And through this feat, he'd attempt to remedy the past and present injustices that plague abroad. In the fall of 1999, Beauchamp relocated from Baton Rouge, Louisiana to New York. He quickly found work at Big Baby Films by some childhood friends that focused on music. Beauchamp honed his behind the camera skill and spent his evenings and reaching out to anyone who might have been on the appeal case. Told to Beauchamp when he was just 10 years old. It was at this young age that Beauchamp saw of Emmett Till's dead body and was told the story behind Emmett Till's murder. In 1999, Beauchamp Till Productions, a company devoted to socially significant projects that can both entertain. Beauchamp has devoted the past 11 years of his life to pursuing justice for Emmett Till, traveling extensively between New York, Chicago, and Mississippi. Journey, he trekked and spoke with witnesses who had never been spoken about, who had never before spoken about case. Befriended Mamie Mobley, who took Beauchamp under her wing, worked influential leaders, such as Muhammad Ali and Reverend Al Sharpton, all the while persistently lobbying both the state of Mississippi and the federal government to reopen the Emmett Till murder investigation. On May 10, 2004, the United States Department of Justice reopened this 50-year-old murder case, citing Beauchamp's documentary. Is there a problem? Well, why don't you stop me instead of letting me just continue to read and it's not going on?
So can you ask anybody in the listening audience if they have a problem with the audio? Because I don't know.
Is any of you if any of you that's viewing us on the internet having problems with you, would you let us know? We definitely want everyone to hear this. You need to go to your computer and see something in it, bro. Who gave you the message? Okay, you need to get that other. Did Brother Derek speak to you about that? You all pardon us a moment. Did Brother Derek speak to you about that camera?
Yes,
that we didn't have fixed?
Yeah, the thing from them already, the group for it to be fixed, so it's shipping out Monday. I got the return to the letter.
We need to send that out next day.
Yes, sir.
And we need to get it back next day.
Yes, sir. But the camera's not. It's the audio that they're complaining about.
Yeah, but he sent here was for designed for one camera to do, and we're not really using it for what it was sent here for. Now, request that many of you that's listening in, you may want to call the conference room numbers, and I'll give you the HD as the sound in it, I'm told. And that number is area code 605 53140. Again, that's 562-3140. And the access code is 869-571. And then you put pound key. Again, that access code is 8691 pound. Okay. So in 1999, Mr. Beauchamp founded the company called Till Freedom Come Productions, a company devoted to socially significant projects that can both teach and entertain. And Beauchamp has devoted 10 years of his life to pursuing justice for Emmett Till, traveling extensively between New York, Chicago, and Mississippi, investigating the murder. Through his journey, he tracked and spoke with witnesses who had never before spoken about the case. He befriended Mamie Till Mobley, who took Beauchamp under her wing. In figures as Muhammad Ali and Reverend Al, all while persistently lobbying both the state of Mississippi and the federal government to reopen the Emmett Till murder investigation. On May 10th, 2004, this 50-year-old murder case, citing Beauchamp's documentary. the untold story of Emmett Lewis T. as both a major factor in their decision and the starting point for their investigation. In May of 2005, Emmett's body was exhumed, and in 2000, the FBI turned over their evidence to the appropriate district attorney in Mississippi. Sadly to say, in February, the jury made a decision to not indict the remaining suspects in the case. Now, I want to say that district that's just a formality. If the district attorney had wanted to pursue it, it would have been pursued. Okay. And that's what, not just the Emmett Till thing, it's with all these other murders of our people that have been done by white people, and then you, white people, are the ones that investigate. Okay. Let's go on. It says the same year, Camp began its collaboration with the FBI's new civil rights cold case investigation. Documentaries on other unsolved civil rights of agents with their investigations that could lead to bringing remaining perpetrators to justice. Camp has been featured on 60 Minutes, ABC, World News, ABC, World News, Person of the Week, MSNBC, Good Morning America, CNN, BBC, as well as in hundreds of publications around the world, including the New York Times, Washington Post, USA Today, Associated Press, and the Chicago Sun-Times. Both past works included TV One's Murder in White and one made history. Champ is currently the executive producer and host of Investigation Discovery's crime reality series. The upcoming feature film, Till. It's also a frequent lecturer at colleges and universities around the country. And we want to welcome Mr. Beauchamp in here, and also everyone to leave their phones mute. And I want Mr. Beauchamp *6 on his, and whatever we didn't get right, we would like as need to properly introduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam.
On your show today, it means a lot to be able to share my life that I believe in God's work with the public. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity for reading a great bio, by the way, and you did extremely well.
Well, we are well, and you, Brother Woodrow told me that were childhood friends or grew up together, and
so. Yes, sir. Brother Woodrow and I have a long history together. His lovely mother is partially responsible for my. It's really great to reconnect with him and also do this radio show.
you want to go into a little more depth on this. I know after all of that hard work of getting the FBI and involved, the federal government involved into investigating, and they exhumed the body and did all of the necessary research and then turned their findings over to district attorneys and to the state and district attorneys, and nothing got done. I know it must have made you feel, brother.
Yes, it's kind of a frustrating situation, but 2 years old at the time at the beginning stages of me researching the Till case. I know one thing I mentioned that it's been 11 years. Now it's been 22 years of my life, fighting to get justice for Emmett Till and to really bring his story back into the public consciousness. Unfortunately, I have to say, because of the recent ongoing shootings of unarmed black men around the country today, his name always metaphorically comes back into fruition. And I think a big reason for that is because we've never properly seen justice, true justice, courtroom justice, in the case of Emmett Till's murder. As you mentioned earlier, it is to be a little frustrating, and it was extremely frustrating, spending most of my young life, I have to say, researching this case and bringing the right evidence forward to get the case reopened, and then handing those findings over to the local and state courts, and to see that they were not able to do their job. Anybody in the legal community, and everyone has heard this saying, a DA can indict a ham sandwich if they wanted to. And this case, the reopening of the Till case and the new investigation that was led, and of course, the grand jury hearing, is really a true testament to that saying in terms of what went wrong, and it continues to lead questions. And I wonder, because this was so public at the time of me working on the case, I just wondered, why didn't the public question the authority about the findings, and why they didn't decide to indict the remaining people in the case? First, I think the audience need to understand what I discovered. I discovered there was not only two men that was involved in the kidnapping and murder of Emmett Till, the two men that we all heard about, which was Roy Bryant and J.W. Malum, the two writers. But there were more men involved. There were up to that I discovered was involved with the kidnapping and murder of Emmett Till. 5 of these people were black men who we believe that was forced to participate in the crime itself. At the time of the reopening of the case in 2004, there were 5 people still alive who I believe could have been indicted for kidnapping and murder. By the time that findings was handed over, there were only 2 people that we were looking at to possibly indict. Others unfortunately passed away during that time. And those 2 people were one, Karen Bryant, woman, Emmett Till Wilson, that in 1955. The second person was Henry Lee Loggins, who was forced to participate in crime. We were hoping to get these 2 people indicted on culpable manslaughter charges, and unfortunately it didn't go our way.
It's the case of Emmett Till is a tip of the iceberg of injustice and heinous murders that have taken place in America against our will. And we have lived under, they talking about all of these immigrants and stuff fleeing from the terrorism of these so-called they had some place they could flee, and the whole world had to flee. But we had no one to run to. Nowhere. We went from the north to the south, from the east to the west, and terror persisted. And we lived under terrorism, and we have been living under terrorism for the past 450 years. More. I just put that out there now. But the point that I'm making is that the world now is getting a taste of what we have been suffering at our cries. Nobody answered our cries for justice. And when we seek justice, we have to go to the very perpetrators of justice to try them. And frankly, I'm sick of it. And I'm speaking for me, and I'm speaking for all of my people who may be afraid to say what I just said. And I understand why they are afraid. Because a black man displeasing a white man in America is the same as a chicken getting out in front of a fox, posturing. He's going to wind up in his stomach. And that's the way that we have lived. We have lived under the threats and terrorism of Caucasian people lives. And I'm so happy and thankful that Allah has now intervened. That's one thing that, people hear me say, Brother Keith, about, you hear me talk about Minister Farrakhan sometime and they think I don't like Minister Farrakhan. But it's not about liking Minister Farrakhan. I love Minister Farrakhan. I just don't agree with everything Minister Farrakhan says. But when he said that we are so thankful that Allah has intervened in our affairs here in America, I'm in 100% agreement with him on that. For Allah has intervened. And now, where you and I used to have to walk around and fearful to speak the truth, you don't have to fear to speak the truth anymore. You don't have to fear to stand up for what's right anymore. And I'm so thankful that you, at the age of 22, that's when I joined the Nation of Islam, when I was 22.
Oh, wow.
And you was trying to get justice from the age of 22. And, I know that it didn't go well for you. I know that you probably had people threatening you or throwing out little hints of what might happen to you. And I'm just happy that you went on anyway, brother. Bravery don't mean that you're not afraid. It means that you went even though you were afraid. And that's what bravery is. And it's not a black man in America that could truthfully say that he has not been afraid of white people. But some of us didn't let that fear stop us from doing what we felt was right. And
I agree. I think, just being involved with stuff like at a certain early age, I felt in many ways I was invincible, just like any young man would feel, but I also understood the importance of really telling a story like Tim. A story, unfortunately, that we must continue to tell over and over again, or should I say fortunately, tell over and over again, because what we're seeing happening today is what we saw happening back in 1955. And for me, getting involved with the case so young, I kind of grew into understanding what pain may feel like to some. And I say it may feel like to some because many of us take on pain in different ways. I just chose just chose to take this pain on in a very productive way, which basically spawned career. I've only been doing this kind of work since I was 22 years old, not just Till, but dealing with other unsolved civil rights murder cases of those who lost their lives during the civil rights struggle. And I continue to do that today. I firmly believe that the Creator has given me a voice and a means to really tackle these issues in a very creative way to reach the masses, and I want to stay true to that. And I'm fortunate to be able to do that, and with the help of my parents, who instilled in me early on the value for speaking for those who can no longer speak for themselves, going which is sort of a civil rights belt, and the people, progressive people around me. It's really been, in many ways, a very fulfilling journey, but at the same time, an uphill journey. And it hasn't ended, because those of us who speak truth understand that you're going to have those struggles. It's a continuous struggle to get the right information out to the masses. But I'm here to speak the truth, and I will continue to do that as I have the breath of life.
Well, I promise you, brother, you're not standing alone. I remember when I came to Mississippi, I at least came back to Mississippi because I was born here, born in Lee, and my mother and them, they left here when I was 3 years old, and I grew up in Los Angeles, and it's ironic, all my life, white people say that if you fall a horse, you got to get right back up on him. And the only way that you will get your fear is you have to face that you are afraid of. Now, I learned that from listening to them. And then I wind up Brother, pardon me a moment. I think we had a miscommunication because Mr. Harris' name is at the station. So well, there has been a miscommunication. I don't want to leave anyway. We have always Keith, please excuse me. I'm not about to disrespect any of you. I do let you know that we are a peculiar people. We are a people unlike most people on the earth. They can take you back into thousands of years of their history. We are the only people who can't take back with truth. We can't take you back past 400 years. Even when we claim we're going to do some research, historical research on Egypt and all of that, we have to get that through the ones who enslaved us, and we don't know nothing about that. And so we are a peculiar people. Scriptures refer to us as. We are people who most people don't understand why we are not up and grabbing guns or arms and fighting against the injustices that people do to us. But that's not we were brought into this experience for. It's just like with you, Brother Keith. You went and you found everything. Did you find that Emmett Till had been given a trial? No. I can answer that. He wasn't tried for no crime. Even if it had been a crime to whistle at white women, shouldn't he have been given a trial?
That's true.
Okay. So if you look at what happened to him, and a lot of people say, well, that's way back then. No, it's not. It's happening right now to Dr. Bill Cosby. It's happening right now to Dr. Bill Cosby, just on another level. All these women thought he raped them. Then they went from saying raped to sexually assaulted. And there's no evidence at all, but you see universities that he has donated millions of dollars to and been around there trying to help them to stay afloat and all of that kind of thing. They when you write things against a person that's not true, especially a famous person, when you put it in writing, isn't that called libel? They have put all type of slanderous gossip in the media and just been spreading it around about Dr. Bill Cosby. And when I first heard it, I was waiting on the police report to back it up. That's what I was waiting on. I said, well, they must got him. And I was listening and listening and listening. I said, wait a minute. What is this? They saying all of these things and ain't nobody brought the man arrested. There's no rape kits, no evidence that they now could have brought forth to say, well, his DNA was found on this lady or that lady. Nothing. In the same way that when they bring us something, we run with it and don't even care whether it's true. If white folks said it, it must be. We run with it like it's Jesus talking. And when you brought the evidence to show the people, they didn't run with it. They threw it in the trash can.
It's a bubbling time for us in this country, and I often wonder, the late Mamie Till Moe still alive today, what she was doing at this moment in time and seeing all these injustices take place in her midst. I truly believe that when the true story of Till is told, which we're doing, which we're actually producing this case now, when the true story is told, I believe that it would be a catalyst, like it was a catalyst for change back in 1955. There's so much we can learn from this particular case, and I just firmly believe that when this case is really told to the public, people will finally get it. And you mentioned Brother Bill Cosby. It's frustrating to see something like that. As one, I have to be clear, I do not condone rape of anyone. However, in terms of the Bill Cosby situation, it's a very complex situation, especially when you are a person of color, particularly black. He was a strong black man who was always seen iconic in many of our eyes. As a filmmaker, I have to say, much because if it wasn't for his tenacity and his power in supporting a lot of independent filmmakers, such as Milton Peoples, who is considered the father of independent black film, right? If it wasn't for Bill, a lot of the stuff that you're seeing happening today, a lot of stuff that I'm doing today, we would not have been able to even, it would not have happened. I mean, I would not have a TV show if it wasn't for the historic vision, Dr. Bill Cosby. And it's unfortunate that we're seeing him in this life now, as you mentioned, there's, of course, there's all these allegations, but no one can come out with substantial evidence. And people would beat me up by saying, oh, well, all these women coming forward, and things of that nature. But I have a certain, unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but I have a certain, I have certain knowledge about that time and era that always will have me question the motives of these women who came forward. Again, I don't condone it, but you have to look at the era and time. What were people doing? What was the decisions? What was the lifestyle like? And I think people somehow forget that because this generation, we have so much disconnect from those days. So when you put a Bill Cosby up and you say these things about him in public life, of course, a lot of people will be upset and feel that, you need to go to, you need to put him in jail and things of that nature. He needs to be convicted of crime. Well, if evidence shows that he actually did the crime, yeah, he should do the time. But in terms of the historical context of this man to Black America, we have to be extremely careful about the knowledge that we're receiving and the knowledge of evidence that are out there for us to see. And I say that because for me now, all this is happening, it's looking like a lynching to me. It reminds me of those lynchings that we read about in the history books that some of us have seen. And, having this case in the means of a public opinion, it's a problem for me. Because, unfortunately, as you said, we're a very peculiar people. We have seen so much that has happened within our lifetime and beyond our lifetime story. And so we are so much, when we hear these things, like a Bill Cosby being torn down in the manner that he's doing, and it is reminding us of the history of lynching in America and public lynching. I don't think you can blame us for thinking the way we think, as some of us think. Some of us may believe that he done it, and many of us believe, and you that because there's a history here, and that we have to shake off, and then we can't shake off. And so, when you hear these things, it frustrates me. It frustrates me to continuously see these unarmed Black males being killed daily. Every day is a different story. And it's amazing to me because this is not something that just happened overnight. This continues to happen. This is a transgenerational issue that's never been dealt with because many of us are afraid to talk about it in a public forum, or we're afraid to talk about it because we deem it as controversial. So I long for the time. I really long for the time that there's a time and a place where our struggle is not considered or deemed to be controversial. But people will be willing to out and listen, and not having to continuously be back in the public life or having to prove, why these injustices are occurring or prove that injustice happens. Because, picture speaks louder than words. Emmett Till will tell you that.
They on the head then. I mean, it's a terrible injustice. When you look at what Jesus said, or what it says about this to Jesus, and people attribute to Jesus, it says we followed in his footsteps, suffering the same persecutions. Jesus had did a lot of good for a lot of folks in his day and time. And the people that should have been, at least the people had been portraying that had been portraying themselves as believing in the doing of good, which was the chief priests and all of them religious people, they got behind closed doors and they wanted to know what we gonna do about this man. We got to do something about him, because if we don't, now this is in the Bible. This is in the 11th chapter of John, starting at the 45th verse. And they had hatched a plot to kill Jesus. and make it look like that's what God wanted done. And when Jesus got up in front of the multitude, and Pilate gave the multitude a chance to say, let him go. Go. Now, all that good he did, and they brought some false witnesses against him to accuse him. They found 2 false witnesses. And they said, let him be crucified. Now, look at all these. They started off with 3. Then they brought 3 more. Then they brought 3 more. And gradually, all of the good that Dr. Cosby had been doing for people, gradually, the people that he did the good for start saying, well, all these people wouldn't be lying. That's what Hitler said. He said, you tell a lie, don't tell a little one, tell a big one. Because if you tell a little one, other people will, most people tell little lies. But most people will not believe that you would tell a big lie because they wouldn't do it. And so read up on it. Hitler and them laid it out. And so they kept on adding. Every time they'd go to die down, they'd bring out 3 more. You notice they've been bringing them out in 3s. And then you got not MSNBC, but what station was that? NBC? They paid them women's way to come on. Give me that woman's picture there and name that put her money on Facebook there.
Her name is
Sammy
M-A-Y-S.
M-A-Y-S. And she put her money, showed how much money she got paid on what it was. Yeah. Now, when have you ever known the news media to start paying people's way to come up, fame the character of any mega star with just gossip? You never seen that before. Of course, you never heard no mega star stand up and tell black people that he said, I'm not a Muslim, and he's not. He said, but all of us should emulate the black Muslims in that, in what he meant, in that they build their own schools and educate their children. They protect their women and children. They don't use drugs and all of this kind of thing. And they got mad. He stood up and told black people in the pound cake speech, he said, it's our time, people. Mm-hmm. Look what you said about if it had not been for Dr. Cosby, you probably wouldn't even have a TV show. But, I mean, so we finally get a black man that you find the majority of black people look up to, and then he starts talking like Dr. King. You remember Dr. King? A lot of people don't know that Dr. King and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had a meeting and had been planning a convention together before he got murdered. And so the first thing they have to do is assassinate that man's character. And they know how they've taught us. You know, if enough people say you did a thing, it don't make no difference if you didn't do it. People start thinking, oh, all them people ain't lying on him. Yeah. Why not? It used to be a day like a picnic when there was going to be a lynching. White people used to come out, women, children, and men, by the thousands. And they said, well, they're going to lynch nigga so-and-so down there. Okay, let's go. And they'd bring lunches, and they'd stand there and watch it, and then cut parts of our body off. Well, once the lynching was done, then somebody else would, what did he do? Well, they say that so-and-so did so-and-so. What did he have a trial? No, we know he did it. We know he did it. Where was the evidence? All them people wasn't gonna lie on him. All them people wasn't on him. All them people wasn't gonna lie on Jesus, but they did. They went along with it. You notice I can't get none of them to come in here and have a civilized conversation with me, brother Keith. I've tried. I've tried to get them to come in here and explain to me why you are running with all of this allegations. Allegations is nothing more than a fancy way of saying accusing without evidence.
You're right, brother. I'm just shocked that television will allow these shows to be produced. I know that A&E did a similar show with some of the victims, and I was just blown away that they would allow something like that when there's so much stuff that's vetted behind the scenes before you produce and bring stuff to TV and before it airs, such as the work that I cannot get the show air with just allegations. I have to show that there's an injustice taking place and show that there's some evidence of this to produce my shows. They would not allow me to show with just allegations. So to see this happening at really at a major network, I'm just surprised that they were produced, because I'm not held at the same standard when I'm producing my shows. I really have to get my shows done it up and not be produced. So it's just an interesting time for me, it's a time for all of us, because what is happening today and what we're seeing happening today happened during the 50s and 60s. TV. It's just so amazing that in my lifetime, and I'm 44 years old now, submitted to me in my lifetime that I would actually see history repeat itself across all levels of society. And so these are troubled and scary times for us. I really hope that our community really wake up to what is going on and put ourselves in great positions of power to make sure we set the record straight and we make sure that truth is out there in the light. We're in society now. Everybody gets their information instantly. Nobody do research anymore. As I said before, in terms of Brother Bill Cosby, you got to be careful with that, because it's the timing of it all. In the midst of all these police shootings and unarmed black males and black women being killed, and then all of a sudden you have these stories coming, even OJ resurfaced again recently, and I'm like, what is going on? Am I the only one that's on TV? All things seen right now in the area of public life. I mean, why are we? I'm just troubled, brother. And feel bad and put the right words together to describe what is going on. Like many of us, I'm feeling racial fatigue. Seeing it day in and day out, it does something to your spirit. It's not natural.
Brother Keith, I'm going to tell you what is done for is to provoke you and I into doing something that can justify the mass murder of us. And listen to me good. You got many people, I've talked to some of the youngsters, they want to fight. They want to, we can't let this stuff keep happening. They shooting us down, they doing something. And if next thing you know, they talking about, we need to get guns. And someone has to remind these young brothers and sisters, if you're going to fight someone, that's something I learned from watching some of them old cowboy movies or whatnot. When you challenge someone to a duel, if you start it, they get to choose the weapon. You see? Now, as far as us picking up guns against people, that would be suicide.
Exactly.
Because he has all of the guns. No, we will take up truth. You notice, we've been talking. These phone lines are open. You haven't heard anyone come in here and say that we are talking racism. You see, that's an old thing that he was comfortable doing with people that he taught. That people that he know that he had given them all of the knowledge that they have, they got it from him. Then the minute he cry out, well, you sound racist. He know that put you on the defense, on the defensive.
Yeah.
And you got to explain to him how you're not a racist. When, but like in his movies, whenever something that he do attract my attention, I pay attention. Like in Disclosure, when the man was with Michael Douglas, he was accused by his boss of sexual harassment. She, the boss, sexual harassment when she tried to be intimate with him, and he turned her down. And so this lady lawyer that represented him, she told him, she said, look, sexual harassment is about power. And she said, when did to sexually harass her, your boss? And so he calmed down. And so likewise, when a white person, a black man, of being a racist, racism is about power.
Yes, sir.
When did you ever have power to practice racism among people? That's what they've been doing to us. And the minute we say something about it, they flip the script and accuse you of what they have. We put in this position our way out of it in shedding blood. We was put in this position to think our way out of it. And that's what we have to do, Brother Keith. That's what I'm saying. That's why I bring brothers like yourself on. And I want us to reconnect to our people. Those of us who are talented, we cannot look at our people as and keep on talking about how hard we worked to get where we was. I didn't work hard to get the genes in me that may have propelled me to being able to stand up and articulate the things I articulate. That came out of my people. I didn't have nothing to do with that. So it wasn't about working hard. It's just that's what in your playing, you say, I'm just playing the hand I was dealt. Is that right? You using the talents that you were given from the black nation. I use it, but we have to remember where them talents came from. And we have to go back. That's what Dr. Cosby was really reminding us of.
That's actually true. And just hearing you speak, it just brings me to a wonderful quote that I often recite from time to time from one of our great black historian, Dr. John Henry Clark. And he says, "Hope who are truly free until they become the instrument of their own liberation. Freedom is not to be bequeathed from one generation to the next. Each generation must take and maintain its freedom with its own hands." I believe what he was saying is there's a moral and personal obligation and responsibility that all of us have. And despite the turbulent history of the black man in America, and of course, our African people, I would never trade this experience for any other culture in the world. Because man's life, our state of being, is all about progress and making things better. If we didn't have this long journey, if we didn't have freedom and justice to truly strive for, I mean, what's the point of living? That's the way I look at life. What's the point of living if we didn't have this struggle? Because there's a lot about what you can give and how you can better mankind. And so I say this because I've come to understand that although this is my calling, I could never see myself doing anything else. I wouldn't want to live if I didn't have it to do. And so, again, I just hope that some of our brothers and sisters who are out there who are lost and trying to find their way understand what we're obligated to do, regardless if you believe it or not. There's things that are destined for us to take on and do. And this is why we're seeing troubles that's happening, because there's something spiritual happening to all of us, and that we have to recognize. And there's a great disconnect in spirituality. At some point they will meet, and you will have to say, play your role and do something that's going to better society. And that's the way I firmly believe, and that's why I continue to do this work that I do.
Well, I intend to help you, brother. I mean that. I've met a brother like yourself, man. Mr. R.J. Watkins, and he owns radio and television studios, and he has look at your screens, brother. He has been I've never met a black man with the kind of resources that he has to be as approachable as he is. You know, I mean, even in, this is one of the prayers that I pray, brother. Since I know that I'm afflicted, as the book says, in all of their afflictions, he was afflicted. And I pray Allah to help me to overcome those afflictions and to help each of you to overcome yours. But while we are doing that overcoming, I pray for him to allow us to stand in spite of those afflictions. And I see that happening. I mean, it's not a one of us that don't have some issues, man. You can't be black in America and have grown up here in America and don't be a little bit crazy, man. I mean, that's us. I mean, if you talk to any of us for any length of time, and you will discover that we kind of sick. We have issues. And any of us that think we're not sick, we are some of the sickest ones. It's the one that when you're sick and know you're sick, then it makes you able to tolerate sickness in others.
Yes.
But when you think you the only sane one, then even when you dealing with other people, you think there's nothing wrong with you. You see everything wrong with everybody else, and you the only one ain't nothing wrong with. Well, that's a problem. Well, even Jesus, when the man called him good master, Jesus said, "Wherefore you calling me good? There's none good but one, and that is God." So, I want you to meet Mr. Watkins. I hope he's listening. I hope he's listening, because if he is, he know he can call in, or he's welcome to chime in. And you need to meet him, brother. You knowing what you know about, and you doing what you're doing about producing that movie. I don't know how close to airing it is, but I'm pretty sure that Mr. Watkins will help you air it and get,
At this point, it's going to be a feature film, and we're going to shooting next spring of 2016. It will be released in theaters 2017. Spring 2017. I'm actually producing the Till movie with Fred Zobo, produced Mississippi Burning, and Go to Mississippi, and Whoopi Goldberg. And we also have Paul Kerner, Will's popular show at AMC. Susan Rose, who's a Broadway and film producer, and Thomas Levine, a Paramount executive. And we're all producing this film. It's been a long time coming. We've been trying to produce this film for over a decade. And finally, and I have to say, unfortunately, because of all that's happening around the country, it has given it a platform to really fly out and be made. We put the efforts into making this a great film that's going to not only move people visually, but actually make a profound impact on popular culture and society as a whole, because this is a very important film, and I know it's historic in many ways, but even more so in understanding how the movement began in 1955 and what springboard off of this murder of this young child, Emmett Till. Because many of us don't know this true story. The true story of Emmett Till, many of us don't know the impact that his death had on society, and continue to have on society, I should say, because there's so much that I could point out to show you why his case is so relevant today. So with this opportunity, where many, but with this great opportunity that has come to me, I will be telling this story for the first time in my day, and I just hope that it would challenge us all to go back into our own communities and make a difference in our own way.
Well, I want to say to those Caucasian people who are helping you,
Yes.
I thank them from the bottom of my heart. I mean that. I'm aware of people like John Brown,
Yes.
and I'm aware of that. And when you hear me mention the evils that was done to us, I can't help it without saying who did it. And it was some of the white people of America. And I'm gonna tell you something. When you stand around and see injustice, and you don't speak out against it or do something to stop it, you are actually culpable. You are actually helping the one who's doing the injustice.
That's true.
And so, it's no innocent. It's none of Caucasian people innocent. And you need to face that fact, because it couldn't have went on if you had stood up against the injustice. You say, well, they'd have killed me. Well, they was killing me. You know, and as the book says, you know, when I was hungry, you didn't feed me. When I was terrorized, you didn't stop them from doing that. You could say a whole lot of things that I don't say. But I want to make sure that people understand that, and I understand being afraid. Because, so if I understand that I was fearful, then I understand that some of those white people were just as fearful because they helped you. They killed them too. Like them civil rights workers. Wasn't some of them white?
That's true.
Okay. I mean, as far as the was concerned about civil rights and didn't want the black man to have no rights or whatnot. Any white person that stepped out there and decided going to try to help you, they call you a nigger lover, and you less concerned, you was a traitor, and they killed you too. And so I understand that. But there's a time and a season for the time to stand back and watch injustice and say and do nothing. That time has come and gone. It's time now for everyone to take on what they are. You know, I don't go with a man lusting after another man and talking about marrying another man. But they showing you what time it is. They showing you that this is what I am, this is what I believe in, and I don't care who knows it. Well, it's for those who say that they are right people. Those who say they believe in justice and righteousness. And justice and righteousness does not mean you go around dictating and forcing other people to be what you are. But it does mean that you should be just as firm in your conviction of being right, is unashamed and saying, I'm coming out the closet and I don't care what you think. I'm going to be what I am. Everybody is doing that now. You know, and that's what time it is. And so, brother, like I said, I thank you for caring enough to try to use what talent, what ability you have to bring assignment to the true history of our people and the truth and the suffering of our people. And if Allah allow you to show the truth about Emmett Till, the Jewish people show the truth about the Holocaust. Nobody accused him of trying to start anything. Hitler started it when he did that to them. And if he didn't want nobody to tell it, you didn't want that, the German people didn't want nobody to tell it, then they shouldn't have did it. You don't get mad at a man that's been treated unjustly by you for giving the history of what you did to him. Because if you was ashamed of that history, you shouldn't have did it. So likewise, again, I thank Brother Keith. We're gonna have you back. We got some numbers. We're gonna give you some numbers. Brother Jamal got some numbers that I want him to give you, and put you in touch with somebody who can aid you.
Lord, thank you so much again for this opportunity and for your listeners for listening in. Of course, there's so much to be told, and I hope that I will be able to tell in my lifetime. But I also hope that my story will inspire others to really understand their obligation to society and what we must do today to stop this carnage from happening. Because we're living in troubled times, and as you say, there's a time and season for all things, and I truly believe that. But this is the season for change to happen, and we have to all understand things to happen now.
Well, Keith, with what you just said, I have to comment. I've warned them, and I will say it again, that if they don't stop the murder of our people, what they just saw with the little young 17-year-old white boy being murdered by a white officer, we're going to see more of that. I'm warning all of you. Whatever you don't want done to you, you better not do it to other people. You know, I'm not the one who authored, as you would that men do to you, be ye also unto them. Because it's also written, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. When you put those two things together, then you understand why that white officer murdered one that looked like him. That's what you've been sowing. You about to start reaping it. You plant a seed, and the farmer, when he plant, believe me, he feel about that. After a week or so, he forget all about it. But at the proper time, that would he starts seeing it coming up. I'm warning you. You're not going to murder us. You think God going to stand by and watch murder? Then see Abraham. That ain't finna happen, man. I'm standing in Mississippi saying this. That ain't. I used to visit the co-op when I first came here, and then I'd be the only black speck standing around there in the co-op. And they knew what I was over here teaching, because our people would run back and tell them, he teaching that the white man the devil. And they'd be standing around there. I'm there. I had gotten me some chickens, and I was there buying feed, and they'd be standing over there, and they'd talk loud enough for me to hear them. I find them out there in them woods somewhere. And I'd be lying if I tell you I wasn't apprehensive about that. But I was doing what I needed to do, facing that which I was afraid of. And next thing you know, funeral after funeral was going on around here. Then I wasn't afraid no more, because God is with me. And if he's with me, he's with us, because I'm with you. Don't fear these people. Do what you know is right, and let Allah worry about who tries to hurt you. Just do what God said do. Unite with your own people, pool your resources, and help yourself. Help yourself and your people. Perfect love casteth out fear. You've seen that truth borne out many times with a mother and something try to get her baby. It could be a tiger or whatever. She go jump on the tiger because of the love that she have. The complete love that God put in a mother for her child will make her do something that she would normally be. A perfect love casteth out fear. I don't wish any ill on white people. I wish them well, but not to the detriment of my own people. And so I again want to say that we are honored to have a young brother. I'm 20 years older than you, brother. To have a young brother that kind of restores our faith in our younger people. Because it's nice, a young man talking with wisdom. And without using a lot of profanity and without using a lot of slang, just talking on a level as person would have. You know, Brother Woodrow told me about you. But now we're going to have you back on here and keep us abreast to the progress, man.
I would love to come back on, and again, thank you for the platform, and again, for the New Nation of Islam for your support, and I ask you to just continue to support me and send out those prayers for me. And, you know, I'll get our stories out there. If there's a will, there's a way, and I won't give up until I do.
Well, and just remember, you're not a... And you don't have my number. Brother Jamar is going to give it to you, give you all my numbers.
Okay.
And at any thing, I want you to know this. I want you to become independent. And I want to help. I want to help y'all do that. I want you having to depend on other people to do. We have we've already started putting funds aside to help those of our people who have talents. That fund is steady building, and when we see that we have someone with talent, we're going to start supporting them so they can help us to do more for the masses of our people. If you're going to invest, men don't invest in things, men invest in people. Things come from people. People don't come from things. So, you know, I'm always looking for the man that has the know-how. Put the resources in the hands of the man who has the know-how, and that man creates for you. So, Brother Keith, we expect to be talking to you publicly and privately, brother. So,
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for the time.
And thank you for taking the time to come and talk with us, brother. May Allah bless you and keep you safe and your family. And all of those who have helped you, may Allah continue to help them.
Thank you.
May Allah's salam alaikum.
Salam.
Now, there was a mix-up, and the brothers from the Undisputed, they came today. So what we'll do is I'm going to briefly introduce you to them. I've talked to Mr. Joe Pep before on here, and you know, he's a down-to-earth brother. I wanted to have something to, you know. So this is just going to be what you call a trailer. I think they call them trailers, and because I want to know what happened at the R&B Hall of Fame induction. I went to see Mr. Mr. Wiggins and Mr. Tyler get inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I saw far more there than I expected. It was a beautiful. It was beautiful to see Black people there honoring each other, and all of the stars there. You know, just a lot of well-known celebrities. You know, and to see how they interacted with each other and were, you know, giving each other their pride. And I said, there's nothing wrong with showing honor for one another. That's something to see us do that often. Now, that's from white people that I like, you know, for you to show honor for each other. Now, the undisputed truth was a 1970s Motown Recording Act. Was assembled by recorder producer Norman Whitfield as a means being able to experiment with his psychedelic soul production technique. If you recall Temptations, Norman, he changed the way the Temptations was doing their thing, Psychedelic Shack and all that stuff, you know, Papa was rolling stuff. But and just so, and you know, the one song, you know, distinguished the undisputed truth with me was that smiling faces. And you know, because there was a lot of truth in it. Beware of the handshake that hides the snake. Yeah, beware of the pat on the back, because it just might hold you back. Huh? You know, you have to. I'll show you an example of what that meant to me. You know, you look at the Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall. When Thurgood Marshall started off, he was a civil rights attorney fighting for Black people, and no telling how many cases he would have won if he hadn't got elevated to the Supreme Court. They took him out of the fight and put him in the, you know, but he still did a lot of things for, you know, he still did not get up there and put with Clarence Thomas. No rubber stamp for injustices like Clarence Thomas has let himself become. And I say that not as a, you know, I think Clarence Thomas and Justice Scalia need to be taken, Anton Scalia and Clarence Thomas, they seem to be joined at the hip, and both of them need to go. They need to be on the Supreme Court. But anyway, it says, Joe Harris served as main lead singer, and with Billy Ray Calvin and Brenda Joyce Evans, formerly of the Delegates, on additional leads and background vocals. The group's music and unusual costuming, large afros and white makeup, typified then popular trend psychedelic soul, which producer Norman Whitfield had inaugurated. A number of their same minor hits, and many of them were also songs for Whitfield's main act, The Temptations, among them. You make your own heaven and hell right here on earth. And Papa was their single top 40 hit in the United States was the ominous Faces Sometimes. originally recorded by the Temptations, which hit number 3 on the US pop charts in 1971. The Undisputed Truth, along with Rolls Royce, with Willie Hutch, followed Whitfield during his exodus from Motown to set up Whitfield Records in 1975. Calvin and Joyce left the group, and Harris, Joe Pep Harris, was joined by new members, Virginia, quote unquote, V, McDonald, Tyrone, Big Ty, Douglas Tyrone, and Little Ty, and then Barkley and Calvin Doc Stevenson. The group's costuming and style changed as well, becoming even more unusual and funky influenced. Former member Calvin later wrote songs for Whitfield's other group, Rolls Royce, including the hit single, Wishing on a Star. However, the group had little success at the new label and faded into obscurity after 2 more albums, although they charted in the UK singles chart in January 1977. Number 43 with the disco single, You Plus Me Equals Love, from the album Method to the Madness. The lead singer on the single, You Plus Me Equals Love, was Takum, who is Chaka Khan's younger sister. The resurgence of the hit song Smiling Faces has brought forth the new look and new faces of the Undisputed. Joe Pep Harris still remains as lead vocal, featuring 2 new lead vocalists, Daisy Love, and 2003, and Jackie G, 2000. And so I want to welcome the brothers. These are some of the albums that they produced in Gordy releases. 71, The Undisputed Truth, US, the United States. Number 43, number 7, Face to Face with the Truth. Number 114 in the US is the top 114th top song in the US, and number 16 in R&B. Law of the Land, number 191 throughout the US, and number 52 on R&B. Earth, 1974, R&B number 35. Cosmic Truth, US, the United States, all over, 186, R&B 42. 1975, Higher Than High, all over the US, number 173. And Blues, number 52. Whitfield releases, 1976, Method to the Madness, and all over the US it was number 66, and R&B it was number 19. In 1979, the song Smoking, the album Smoking. And so there's much that this group has done. We have Ms. Daisy Love, who was raised with the, she's one of the present members, the Undisputed Truth. Daisy Love was raised with Motown embedded in her. Born in Detroit, Michigan, his mother, Ruby Love, was background vocalist for Motown Records. Daisy's uncles were also musically gifted. C.P. Spencer, lead vocalist of the Motown recording group Originals. There, I remember. And it says, and Leon Ware, musician and producer and writer. Artists for Motown credits include Quincy Jones, Michael Jackson, Minnie Riperton, etc. Music, talented Daisy inherited the music gene. Daisy continued her musical interests through high school, studying music and radio, TV production, and theater production. She excelled. Having a passion for acting, she joined the Michigan Community Theater Troupe. She quickly excelled and was given the position as the musical director. Still not satisfied, Daisy to sing. And singing in different functions, she met her first produced and soon after recorded her first CD, a musical mix of house and R&B, titled Daisy. Most of Daisy's training came in the studio, recording demos and background vocals, as well as performing live. Daisy is an active member of the musical scene in Detroit. She has appeared at famous local spots, including Baker's Keyboard Lounge, the Fox Theater, the Detroit Opera House. Some of her performances include William Clinton, Family Farewell Dinner, Women in General in Washington, D.C., and jazz artist Straight Ahead, 70s Soul Superstars. PBS, that was PBS. Motown, the early years on PBS. Daisy has performed with some of the music industry greats such as Bell, the Four Tops, Isaac Hayes, Networks of Temptations, Heat Wave, Leon Ware, the Funk Brothers, Rufus, and Queen Latifah. Naughty by Nature, as well as singing with the Undisputed Truth. Daisy also has an extended radio and television commercial background, recording local performed Patti LaBelle, Leon Ware, Four Tops, Temptations, Al Woodson, Undisputed Truth, Thelma Houston, Billy Paul, Clarence Carter, Toledo Jazz Orchestra. Bands locally, Straight Ahead, the McKinney Zone, Simon Vital Band, Persuasion, Gospel Truth, Intrigue, Nightline, Larry Lee, Bits Band, BITD, events performed for Women in Jazz Festival, Washington, D.C., Soul Party, New Jersey, PBS, Motown, the early years, Dover, Delaware, PBS, Midsummer's Nights, Hobnob, Detroit International Freedom Fireworks, Ribs and Soul Festival, Pontiac, Michigan. MGM Casino, Greek Town Casino, Motor City, I guess I'm getting it here. Hollywood Casino, Toledo, Ohio. Detroit Symphony Orchestra. Carmenos Cancer Foundation, University of Michigan, Trauma and Burn, Toledo, Mount Clemens General Foundation, Multiple Sclerosis Society, Hospital, Michigan Heart Association, Epilepsy Foundation, Jewish Federation. So we also have Jackie G. And I want to make sure I have all of these in proper order here. Jackie G is music inside and out. Interest in music began as she discovered the 5, 6, 7, 8 in movement and at a very young age. She blossomed into a very accomplished premier ballerina with Catherine Dunham's protege, Catherine Dunham's protege, Clifford Fears. Then, without missing a beat, began dancing with the world-renowned Alvin Ailey, American Dance Theater. Jackie transitioned from movement to music after honing her vocal skills with Broadway star of the time, honored Phoenix singers Ned Wright. Jackie G began crafting several vocal groups, of which included her singing lead as well as rich harmonies arranged by the likes of the legendaries Rudolph Hawkins and Harry Boyens of Was Not Was. He has shared stage and performance with the likes of B.B. King, Patti LaBelle, Stevie Wonder, Kid Rock, Ice, Clarence Carter, the Four Tops, Michael Henderson, and the incomparable Undisputed Truth. Along with her other gifts to date, Jackie G has become a fledgling songwriter with several timeless projects in progress. So we want to welcome Mr. Joe Pep Harris, Daisy Love, and Jackie G to our forum here. And I want to apologize if I was a little shaky in the reading of your bio. We are honored to have you here and with this little trailer because we're going to have you back next Sunday. So, everyone at our invitation at the wrong time. Well, it's not their fault, it's our fault. And we should know that we invited them, and we did mean it. And so Mr. Harris and Miss Love and Miss G, we welcome you all, and I would like you to take as much time as you need to straighten out any mispronunciations of whatever that I did, and whatever that we missed or did not properly state in bio. We welcome you to make the corrections. It will not offend us, and we always want to do things properly. So, Mr. Harris, how are you doing, brother?
I'm great. I got well.
And Miss Love and Miss D.
Yes. Hello.
You know, when y'all was farming, y'all y'all did a beautiful job. So I want them to adjust y'all's microphones, and whichever you all want to start first, just feel free to let's just talk to each other.
All right. Can you hear me? Am I good?
That's pretty good. Okay, let's try that.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. Daisy, you can be up just a little more.
This is Daisy Love. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. All right. So, tell us.
You can't hear it, but here I am. Steve Calloway, also known as Raheem Shabazz. Yes, sir.
I want to welcome all of you all here. And this is just a little teaser because I wanted to show some of what y'all did, you know, that made them steps not be hard on me. Because I really did enjoy it. You know, I forgot I was sitting on the steps for a while because it was so nice to, you know, y'all really fun. So,
matter of fact, they were the best this evening. I don't know. I got a big report on that, but just about everybody said that they performed, and they did. Congratulate them right now. You did a fantastic job. Even without me.
Well, we felt your energy, your spirit. That can't be missed.
Well, it was the Hall of Fame in Detroit. What else you want to do?
So tell us what's tell us what y'all have planned for the near future. I mean, you know, I know y'all probably working on something. So, you know, you want some of that with us?
Yeah, well, I am right now. I'm in the midst of putting a concept together for an album. I've had these ladies with me for an extended period of time, and I find now that you should be able to hear their voices rather than hearing them sing parts that were done by people that was previous to them. So I think they will do justice to everyone when you can get an opportunity to hear Jackie G and Daisy Love, you know, singing their versions of whatever it is that we're going to intend on doing.
What brought you all together? I mean, you know, how did that happen? What the
California. That I had just overcome cancer. I had it for 3.5 years. I did it without treatment. That's right. I had this wanted to go back to work. And I ran into a friend of mine who used to play with me back in the day when I was with the Pets. His name was Robert Lowe. He was a hip-hop player. And I told him that I was trying to retool the group. I had lived through LA, Vegas, and the problem that I was having there was most of the females that were available that I was considering were doing multi things. There was acting and working and playing other things. I couldn't get the attention that I would need to bring them to the level that I had. And Robert Lowe had mentioned Jackie G. He said, "There's a girl in Detroit you really ought to see. You know, here she would be perfect," because he worked with me before with the Pets, and that's the truth. And it's her personality and her work ethic were what you would be looking for. So he put me in touch with her. We spoke to Los Angeles. Well, I was in San Clemente now.
Yes, you were in San Clemente.
Yeah, San Clemente. We talked.
Detroit. And she got her friend Dave, we got together, and my friend Steve on the end, he was the cameraman and the choreographer. And we went to work. And we started the things together. It was so easy. And I just told him, I said, you know what? I thought that I was finished doing this. And the personalities of these two young ladies were such that it caused me to rethink. You know, when you say never, like at that point. And I got a brand new career. Walked right on into the music hall thing. So, you know, we can't be doing too bad.
And you know what's a beautiful thing? The gentleman that really told me, Joe Harris, about me, such a beautiful spirit. He's no longer with us now. But I was so grateful for the opportunity. And as Joe was saying, we have a lot of people maybe in California who are doing so many things. It's not, we're not busy in Detroit, but you recognize when the correct energy and opportunity is there, you make room. And when you commit to doing something, you give your all to it. And people will ask you anywhere in the world, from Detroit, when somebody, they get all the respect, because if you can make it in Detroit, they say you can make it in New York, you know, you can make it anywhere. So Robert Lowe, I recognized, and when I met Joe, I knew that was what I was supposed to be doing. You know, and then Daisy, my good friend, she's so gifted, and she's. I was talking with another friend the other day. It takes more than just being able to sing well, or, you know, have a look. The chemistry, the energy, and the work ethic is a large part of it. And so she has, you know, that group of folks that really have the work ethic and the talent and the beauty. And I'm just grateful to be working.
I think I'm the one. Well, I can't say it's what I think it's the divine moment of my father. Because I knew Jill actually before I even knew him. And he knew my people. I found out later on. And it's just amazing how it happened. And Jackie's one of those kind of people that, you know, if you know her, you want to latch on to her spirit because she's just so good. Her community is perfect. She taught me a lot about performing. She didn't know that. But she taught me a whole lot. And I was like, oh, I want to be like Jackie. I want to perform like that. I want to do. And so she's a great role model for me to have learned from. And just knowing that I would have the opportunity to work with her and then Joe, who I had already liked the music before I even knew who he was. I love the music. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be a great opportunity. So I just kind of like developed the whole thing. And once I realized that he almost put Joe. And then Joe, but it's my brother Joe. So sorry. I think that's right here. He's not a great one, but I love him. I found out today I really like him too.
They are the most fantastic people you ever want to meet in show business. Show business fell off, but when they came back, they brought it all back. Wait till you see Jackie and Daisy. They had the most fantastic two. As a matter of fact, you saw them, Mr. Son-of-Man, at the show. They performed so well that everybody said they were the absolute best. They said Joe was the very best that they ever sung. My whole family, I got phone calls from England and all around the world said Joe and Daisy, yes, and Jack were fantastic. So, man, I'm glad to be a part of them. I really am.
To give you a little bit more insight on Mr. Calloway over here, I had the pleasure of going into the Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame twice with the group called the Peps, and again with the to the truth, and the Peps, which was a group that I started in the early '60s with Richard Street, Ronald Abner, Tommy Stone, and myself. We were with Thelma Gordy, Thelma Records, and we were we were just like the group in Detroit that had no hit records, so we had to perform. Oh, that was our call to God. We were a show called the Best. We were performing for you, and we went to England 8 years ago. 2008. Okay, 8 years ago, and wow. I mean, what a treat. I mean, when we got there, people were waiting on us everywhere we went. And the night of the show, we just couldn't in the place, nowhere. And after the show, I was trying to figure out how am I singing these songs I recorded way back. It's the same keys. And the shows were great. We were very satisfied. Ronnie and Tommy both at that particular time were, So at that time I had to make an amendment and try to knock that gate. So I used Trey Stone, who was a member of the Undisputed Truth. Actually, I put Trey Stone with the group that I put together, the normal Whitfield records called Start On. And they was Trey and I when I was writing and producing together. And we thought we were going to go over there and he was going to play the guitar. Well, because the little seat guitar. So he ended up singing. So he ended up singing, and the folks over there just made us loved it. I mean, I don't know what time that the show's over, but I think we were there 3.5 hours long. Yeah.
And what they said, the newspaper write-up was, the Beatles stormed America, not a fabulous storm. It was really nice. And to bringing back the Pets, I could not leave Raheem and Trey out because this is the truth. It's by myself, and the guy was really willing for me to just take the acclaim, but I can't do that. I think that you did a good job. Think about all the folks that came about and some of the folks that are not here today. I think that I had to introduce everyone that was a part of the Undisputed Truth and the Pets. And even in Trey were the only other members of the Pets ever. Well, I had one guy that was my best friend in high school. He substituted one time. Herbert Sadness, he's no longer with us. But I think that because of the Pets, it led to this particular point in my life and my career. So I had to really glorify that as much as I could and try to have for the opportunity of being able to be a part of that group, which morphed into the Undisputed Truth. And Joe gets a lot of credit for this because they just fabulous steps. OJ, so we better get the fabulous steps in there. But when Joe began to talk to Lamont, he said, I can't leave out the Undisputed Truth. And so everybody, Joe he must have received about 9 gold records that night.
Must have.
Yeah, because he earned all of those. And I appreciate that. Thank you, Bruce.
So much. And David and I were talking, and it was just amazing that at this stage of our year, we've done a few things that this man is so gracious. to be a part moment, not just a part of it, but actually receiving an award, a legendary, being a part of the legendary Undisputed Truth. That is so huge. That is so huge and so generous.
Well, from my point of view, I've been doing this stuff so long, and I think that the break that I had, the breakdown, whatever you want to call it, when I was having cancer, I made the decision that, that was the end for me. I was not going to be trying to retool a group, and it's very hard to follow other folks when you know the ropes, and just to be able to work with some folks that are really good, that are capable of doing the job. And, it's such an easy task now. We had sisters. With the Peps, people really didn't understand that with the Peps, we never rehearsed.
Wait a minute. I said, Joe, when we going to rehearse? He said, just do your thing, I do my thing. I said, Joe, what are you talking about? Just do your thing. I'm going to do it to the beat. And we walked down the beat. I said, Joe, can we sneak in rehearsal? I told you. When you get on stage. And it worked out.
You know what? That's the genius of being able with the right energy, the right people with the right gifts and the right voicing. That's not just happenstance. So, because everybody cannot do that.
That was a trick that I learned from the Peps from Ziggy Johnson and a guy that used to be the stage manager named Honeycombs at the Apollo. He had told us, he was saying, guys, unique, how do you come to concept this group? And we said, well, we were really three lead singers trying to figure it out back up in background. So, there's never used background. And you carry that lead attitude. So that, and at Motown at that particular time, that most of the acts there were polished and were routine heavy. We could do all that, but we did dance and stuff. We did everything, whatever it would take. We would do it with some class and everything. And Honeycombs and Ziggy Johnson, you know what? Whatever the formula you guys are using, you got the right idea because you don't restrict anybody. You get the best out of everybody. Nobody's trying to keep up with the other person. And after that, it's about the vocals. So once you know each other vocally, then all those things kind of come together, as a part of whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish in a concept. And I just brought that all into the Undisputed Truth. We tried that with Rolls Royce when we were first put that band. We had to try to find out who had a voice in there. And I knew what the girl was up with the girl, I played Nikki from Florida, which was the truth. But we had the project, so that's history. But to bring it to the front, the only guy that in that group was a guy named Kenny Copeland, who was singing, and at that particular time he was a horn player, but he was trying to sing the land type of a beat. And then when Norman Whitfield took him to the Curtis Mayfield kind of vibe, I looked at him and I said, well, why would you do it? And it gave me an insight to see that people would try to mimic, which we did as top 40 singers, but try to mimic something in the comfort zone, and at that point in time, they would leave their own natural talents to the side. See, so we, learning those things and experiencing those things, right now it makes this what I'm trying to do now very easy, especially like Jackie. You got the right combination and the right kind of added approach that you're using. All you got to get it together and it becomes an automatic happening. So that's what we're doing, and we really create our sound when we go in the studio and start recording. A lot of stuff that we are anxiously waiting to record. But when we do that, we will really be able to individualize so that you can recognize the vocals of Daisy Love and the Marco and Change. So I'll be Jerry Butler. Yeah, they've been a monster in the other 2 minutes. So congratulations. And you're amazing here. Man, Daisy and I'm going to tell you that you really missed it. But no, you can get it on YouTube. I think it's on YouTube. You can get it. It's not on Facebook. Go on Facebook.
Well, that's basically what I wanted to be on clips of when I interviewed you all, so that and that's part of what I was making this interview so easy. The number to ask you, I appreciate that, because I hadn't prepared actually for this interview today. I was expecting it next week, and this little trailer that you all are giving me, I really it's easy. It's easier now because you just it's easy to talk to you, and it's a joy listening to you share with us. It is for me. So I hope that the audience is enjoying it as much as I am. If you let people, a lot of times we don't get a chance to really see the true person who is an entertainer or what. Everything is so scripted. But you just brought out a point about not rehearsing and whatnot, and you just go out and you do what you know how to do. And people actually not getting the real thing. They getting the real you. And you don't see that too often. A show is something that's prepared. But
I mean, we don't put an act together in the form of routines, concept, because actually we're on the stage, and if a person is out there and we are in unison and we're together, and all our moves and things going to be together in that sense, in accordance to the music that we're doing. And we try to create that ambience with each and every song so that there's a comfort zone for the listener and a much comfort zone for the looker. So we rehearse, but we rehearse personally. I mean, I do. I mean, when I get learn the song, I learn it. When I get ready to perform, use the audience, for me to get my delivery. And I learned that when I was with the Ohio Players, because we used to work. I mean, we worked almost 365 days, except for the days of leaving one club or going from place to travel to get to another place. And sometimes we would get to those clubs and it may be 10, 12 people in there Monday night. And that Monday night, I was a singer then. Well, it was actually 2 of us singing, and we would have separate acts, and then the party act, we would do it together. But you'd have to perform those 5 or 6 people like you would at that club was packed. And that was one thing that I learned when I was with the Ohio Players, which was a little bit different from just being with the best. Rich Trees, who was with the Temptations for a while, I learned a lot from him as far as performing. I always called Richard the quintessential lead singer. He could sing to anything. And back to the Ohio Players, you learn how to perform to one. You learn how to perform to 1,000. frame of mind when you go to perform, and you teach it by practicing it. So we never got together practice or routine or step or anything like that. Because I think that when a female is interpreting a song, body language is more important than a lot of the backup things, because it makes the whole thing come together. A male singer would come, like you saw Dennis Evans. When Dennis Evans hit that stage, it was strength. And he had 4 guys back there illuminating the strength. Young Paul Williams, and some of the other that you saw strength. And when I first got with the Undisputed Truth, Norman Whitfield told me, man, this is going to be a little something different. You know, we're singing with ladies. And I was used to go onto a show to kill. We had guys, and we would think about it. Okay, we sit here and be nice, and people say, you're going on first. We say, okay. We go on first, and the show be over. Well, because we had that attitude, And I learned through the years, especially when I was singing with Brenda and Rita, and that, there's a whole lot to learn when you understand, You have to express that, and you sit yourself in the middle of that, and it allows you to interpret your song. Now, a lot of the interpretation that we would look for is going to really come after we start recording new music, and being able to go out and perform things you never heard anybody else do, and it's their own thing, so that gives you a fresh look at your song.
How many of you all are really into songwriting? All of you, or just? I know Daisy.
All of us are really an extension of being a vocalist and entertainer. Eventually, I've been singing so many hit songs, because that's what you like, so many songs that people know, songs that people want to listen to, so you get a really good indication of what things kind of click with people, and you understand how to structure a song so that it can build. You learn that through singing all these great hits. So naturally, with me, I wound wanting to structure my own material and write my own material. There were 1,000 stories of things that people have not wrote about or talked about, but they're basically situations that most people can relate to because they really new in the world. There's nothing really new, but there's a different way to express things. So everybody has their own interpretation, like we're having this conversation right now. So what I say, is different than the way Daisy would say what she says. So it would be a different song, and saying it in a way that everybody can buy on and enjoy. And, so to me, what songwriting is about, telling a story in your own way.
Well, I really hope that you all will get back into some of that message music that, just like I said, relates to our people that will make people want to be better.
Yes.
Instead of
I think
That is what's missing. That's what's missing. Yeah. And you see, and two, man, about the system, and it's always until they're down where we're allowed to express ourselves and talk about things that make us better, talk about things that help the young ones to grow, make us respect one another. Those are the things that I learned from Motown. One thing that I always have to say about Mr. Woodward, he had a lot of hymns about some of the things that we were doing when we started doing. It caught on because people needed that. They needed to hear that from folks that were being highlighted on the radio. And now today they're taking most of the radio away from us. So all the things that you're hearing now, how to sing, I think R&B music morphed up until to be called Motown. And when I say that, people, not for the brand, but the brand of music and the type of things that were being displayed from the artists, the type of things that were being displayed from the label and the brand, you know, now we're back into no man's land, you know. So people want to call that old school, I call it old school. And I think that real school, it's time for real to come back to teaching those folks that think that they're taking advantage of old school, because they're not saying the things that we would say. I listen to the radio every day, and that's one of the reasons why I spend a lot of time with WHPR, because they, RJ and Henry Tyler, I mean, they're forefront in the music here in Detroit. And Detroit has always been a place where, you know, you can come and hear real good music, you know, and it's back from the days when WCHD and the early record companies were here. You only heard that music in the surrounding areas, but it was so powerful that people had to hear it everywhere, you know, and there's still a lot of that talent, a lot of that real music here, because you don't hear all that, a lot of the stuff that you hear on the radio is not oriented. You know, even some of the rap, I mean, for instance, Eminem is about the biggest thing rapping out of the just some of the things that he's saying, you know, because he's caught up in the culture here, where you just can't go and say the things that you're hearing coming out of Atlanta and some of those other places where that music and those type of things, some people like it, you know, but I mean, you know, you like what and that you got to hear, you know, then that's your choice. But I know something that's different. I know how it came about. I have an idea of the driving forces of it, and I know that the main thing is for people to be able to listen to the radio and be able to hear those things closely that, you know, makes them who they are. I have a hard time listening to my grandbabies talk about Katy Perry and those folks. I mean, they're okay, and it's okay to them, and that's all they hear. But they need to hear some, you know, I sit down and Ross and say, who's they going to talk? I mean, you know, it makes you think. You know, you have to be able to teach. Because if we're not teaching, then we're going to be followers. And when we're followers, we're not as the best that we can be. And I think that's one of the reasons why I Detroit. Because I knew that in Detroit, I was going to have to, and being real means you're going to have to say the real stuff. You're going to have to be about it. Baby, I got that from Baby. Just talk about it. You got to be about it. You know, and at this station, I think that we're going to get an opportunity to be able to put on the airwaves real music, real Detroit music, and let it go where it may after that. You know, so that's my hope, that's my intention.
Well, that's what I'm intending to help to promote. I mean, we can either be like vultures and wait on and feed off of the dead or the ignorance of our people and make ourselves rich, making our people ignorant, or we can attain them in such way to promote enlightenment and let them enjoy listening to good music and good lyrics that makes us look inside of ourselves and say, I need to do better than what I'm doing. And so, you know, we have some callers. If you all don't mind, I just got a message that I have a caller wanted to ask a question. If you all have time, Could you answer a few questions?
Wait. Well, look at how people going today. Okay, that's good. Congratulations on your awards. So that you live in the blues. Mr. Perez, I'll ask you a question. I would like to ask, what did you inspire about on the album cover when you were being beamed out of the spaceship? What was the intent behind it, or was it symbolic?
Well, actually, the dude, I had a producer at that particular point in time who was the #1 writer and producer in the world. And he came up in the Motown system. And in that system, he had a lot of his own thoughts and how life is being imitated and perpetrated in many different ways and forms. And after he had an opportunity to express himself, and Mr. Gordon allowed him to be able to express himself with undisputed truth, that we tried to take a lot of the fantasies, a lot of the make-believe things, and bring them to a truism. You know, and if you look at the pictures would say one thing, and some people would have a satanic kind of order to it. Well, I think that it's in your point of view. Because if you look at the pictures and then listen to the lyrics and the music, then you will missing the point. And what Norman was trying to do was he was trying to create a fan base. Now, at that particular point in time, some of the biggest storytellers at that time, Marvin Gaye was just releasing that What's Going On album, which he had a hard time doing because he had so many at the same type of stories about what was going on. And Motown was not a company that was built on that. But times were changing. And were changing in such a way at that particular point in time in Detroit when they were taking Detroit away from us. You know, I mean, we understood that as musicians and people out in the world, in front, you know, we go places and we see things and we hear things, but we always had a comfort zone when we came back to Detroit. And that was urged to leave, you know, because of the political powers that were really trying to squash us. I mean, look around today, you can tell that they accomplished what they wanted to. I came back here and I cried. But I could see all those satanic things in the city of Detroit without the people that made Detroit what it was a vibrant place to be. Not just saying that it was a black thing, it was a unity thing. We had confidence in what we were about. We were about ourselves. We pride ourselves in the mixture of people in the neighborhoods and in the city felt comfortable with that. When they started demonizing Detroit and started talking about the murder capital and all those kind of things, all those needs was something that took away the music. Because that's the only thing that you could have taken from us. That we were bringing to the forefront the positiveness in our music, the things about the new generation. They took all of that away. So today, when you look back and you see those kind of things, and you relate to the album cover and some of the things, we saw, Norman Whitfield saw that back then, you know, and he was making a little statement because every album cover, he did that himself, individualized, and he transformed the outside of that cover to the inside. And if you listen to the story, you know, you're trying to figure out, well, you know, you got to understand where we're coming from and what it's all about. You know, back in the days of slavery and And most times when we had to communicate with ourselves, the only way we could do that was music. You know, people in the water, popping away in the water, but they was telling folks how to get away from that. You know, you got to wait, and people understand. See, so now, back on some of those albums, especially some of the concepts of them, I understand what Norman was doing more so today than I did. I had no idea who he was going to end up going with the concept of those albums. And I realized today, after I had went through all those concepts with different folks in the Undisputed Truth, how he managed to get the people who were involved in the he was able to get their personalities, his personality, and a concept for the group. You know, and that's why it's very hard for me when I'm putting the show together to try to get these ladies to be a part of something better of another time. You know, because if you're living it now and you're part of it now, then you can put the point in time. We did not go back to relate to those objects and those faces that you saw on those albums. Those were the forces that are always, and if you pay attention to them, you know that there's always good and there's always evil. And when you recognize that, then you know where you are. You can't make no mistakes. And that's what you have to do with music. Music is not just something to dance to. It's a lesson. It is something that needs to be in schools. All schools. I learned my stuff in elementary and junior high school. And when I got to junior high school, I had the ability to start singing doo-wop. You know, because I was listening to the Peppermints and the Midnighters and all those guys on the streets. So when I started getting an idea about what was going on, I had to start all those little things together. Never stopped doing it. You know, so today, you know, when you look at those album covers, it's going to tell you something. But if you were living at that particular point in time and you were aware of the world then you can kind of see a little bit about what he was trying to say in those albums.
We definitely want when we talents by God, then He gave them to us, and He gave them to us to choose to use them. You remember what you said about there's always good, and it's up to us to choose which we will use our talents to promote. And the good was generally the one that full of evil. People will try to discourage you and say, you ain't gonna make no money if you don't do this, get down and dirty with it or whatnot. Well, I'm not gonna get down and dirty with you. And that's the stand I hope that all of us will start to take. That I'm gonna, instead of following my people to hell, I'm gonna get in front of them and try to push them back into heaven, into a better way of thinking.
We really see you here in Detroit. We know you live out of town, but you're always in town doing something in Detroit, and we really appreciate it. The greatest greetings to you. Assalamu alaikum, and may Allah continue to bless you and all your endeavors. To the girls with your freedom. And marvelous. Talking about music, it's so very, we see music is like food to me. We listen to it all the time. You're in the subconscious, walking, elevators, and, there's messages that's being fed to you. It's just like food. So it's very,
very much there all the time. So I'm always talking to folks and saying, listen, do you understand what you're listening to all the time? Are you feeding yourself? So we have a responsibility as artists to make sure we're sharing the best of what it is we have to lift people up. To me, be it in love, being in respect. That's our responsibility. I agree. It's what's missing to me.
As a teacher, of teaching young teenagers, it's important that they are aware of themselves first, and who they are, and what they want to portray. Music is very easy to compare and expose yourself for a positive thing, but it's so easy to get lured into things that are negative. And you have to know that your message, a positive message, and who you are as a person comes across to people. And if you portray it negative, then that'll stand out strong. I understand what they say when they say sex sales, but that's not what you really want to put out there, because people are going to always hold that to you in your character. And your character is really, really important as you get older as an entertainer. It's kind of hard to clean up the name. Been exposed in so many different ways, or you've exposed yourself in so many different ways. So my goal with teaching young people is to portray a strong image, a positive image, that you are not ashamed and that you don't mind coming back, looking back later and saying, oh yeah, I remember that with a good thought versus, the shame that she did. And as professionals in music, it's our responsibility to teach that to each child, to each generation, the teenagers and the little babies. It's really, really important. They are the future, and what they put out there, and what we allow them to put out there. That's really important when I say that, because you can teach them, and you can look past the wrong thing is just going, oh, well, they were just doing that. Or, no, I think it's our responsibility to let them know, hey, this is not necessarily what you should be doing. It's not the right thing. And so, as church, it's our job to do that.
Yeah, I thought about ball players, folks that are in some entertainment, and I'm not a role model. You may not have chosen that role, but guess what? People are watching you, people are looking at you, they're emulating you, and you are, subliminally, when you to how they favor us, and when we are in the news, it's like I played mine in Los Angeles, in Las Vegas, the mall. We get all the negative press on everything. I mean, one of the things that really lifts me so much in Detroit is when I watch TV. Every time I see a commercial, it's about the most wanted. How many most wanted jobs are going on? There's more things going on than that. Subliminally, that puts that in your head. You think that that's what we are about. I used to, before I moved to California and came back, but before I moved to California, folks used to say, oh, no, I don't want to try because there's so much different. I was like, well, I wonder where all this stuff be when I'm there. All this stuff, I never see all of that. How come I don't ever see that? Where are those people? See, so music is the way. Music is to teach. It's to tell. It's how we, and we're not all just fairy tales and they're about once upon a time. It's real life now. Most of the stories, most of the true writers now are writing about life. Life as it is, or life as it could be, should be, or would be. And that was one of the normal Whitfield's formula. Life. He used to talk to me a long time ago. We
before we left Detroit, he said, he was asking me the same question you asked, man. He said, do you write? I said, well, I don't call myself a writer. I said, because at that point in time, I was trying to be a performer. I never tried to be a singer because I know so many singers, who are singers. So I had to be a performer, and my stage was top 40. So I bring the things that people gravitated to, the things that they love the most. So that helped me to fashion my personality as to who I wanted to be. So I'm saying, except from folks that had a lot of things that were positive to say. So the negative things was never something that I wanted to be about. What was this race? What was called? How old were you? I love it. 10 years and you won what? You see, back in the days of the midnight. Yeah, right. And all of those kind of things. What with Nanny? We had what they call race music. What they were calling the day. That's right. So we were in it. We called us everything but what it was. Black music, race music, whatever it was. We were telling stories about what our lives were about. Our lives at that point in time were about what they wanted us to think. Now that we have the ability to think, we don't have to follow the time. I learned that from Norman Woodfield. Yes, they made numbers. Yes, talking about ball of confusion and Billy Jones to get you down and all that kind of things. Promoting drugs and all. We weren't promoting. We was talking about it. The Jones that get you down, where the drugs were coming from. Right. We don't make them. Right. So we have to turn all this corners around in our lives. The first place that we have to do that is in our minds. We can go to church every Sunday, but if you walk in the streets every day, and you seeing what and liking what you're looking at, then, you have to think about it. But if you feel as though that you can make a difference, I think that's what a song's about. If you can write a song that's going to make a difference, folks talk about smiling faces. It never changes. It never changes. Somebody text you over that, they you're not, the greatest gift that I've got in the song was smiling faces. Yeah. But the greater gift than that was the ability to be Jerry Butler. Yeah, a long time ago when we were singing way up there. I don't know where the voice is. But I was able to do that. So Mr. Robinson asked me to do a tribute on the Hall of Fame show. And he killed it. Jerry Butler, really easy to make. I say it like that. I think that, you can make a plan and you can have destination, but you don't know until they take you there. And it all starts with music in my radio. Before we had television, I used to go to sleep with it on, and I had two brothers in the room with me. They did it like that. My mom used to come in there to the radio from under the cover. No, WLAC. Oh, WCHD, it went off at 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock and 10, 11 o'clock. I'm not under the cover listening to Randy's in Record Mark down in Mississippi, the Gallatin, Tennessee. But we were hearing us. That was the first place I heard Otis Redding. Yeah. I didn't hear Otis Redding in Detroit. I heard Otis Redding from WLAC. And then they on the road with the Pets, with Martha G. It was one of the first shows I was one of Otis Redding. So I was ready. That was mystical. And you have to burn everything to a certain Motown, get the stars in your eyes. Smokey Robinson was one of the most prolific writers for Destination. If you listen to his lyrics, listen to his lyrics, because he is of the clown. Who was always being the clown for us. You know, but we have to do what we have to do. You know, and you take those songs and turn them into a love song. You know, because it lift up the singer. He lifted the clown. The clown was someone who was out there trying to make other folks happy. You know, see, so I listen to some music today and happiness. You know, I see, it's all about that bass,
Momentary.
that moment, of respect, that doesn't necessarily have to have a positive ending. It's like, do what you want to do. You know what I mean? That's not the way to teach. You know, I mean, because you're right. Give another person the opportunity to make a difference, with their own mind. Yeah. You know, but if I'm in the forefront, if I can get the radio, I got something to say. You know, if I don't have the radio, I mean, I have a hard time with other verse and get together with these ladies because I have to teach or return to the songs that the own taught us. And when we record them, we never knew what we were going to sing before we went in the studio. He told us like when we went in there. Sometimes we recorded them backwards, did the last verse first. We never knew what it was going to be unless it was a cover song that we were going to do, Marvin Gaye or somebody. But other than that, those songs that we were doing, he had ideas. We even went into a rock transition and one time we talked to some of the guys that Led Zeppelin. We wanted to do something those guys. And of course, I could sing that stuff. So, you know, I would be voice too. Not many people in the business who can go from the basement straight up to the ceiling in one song, and you do it consistently. Well, a lot of folks ask me about that, and I always say that, the keys to changing and the attitude that you have mentally has a lot to do with that. If your voice changes, really? Yeah. So you think you're doing okay? Of course, if your voice is going to change, as you age, but the mentality of the notes, you hear a note on the baritone sax express themselves because of the sax that they are. So you kind of try to be that instrument. So when I try to sing, when I go to Curtis Mayfield, I automatically think of a tenor or an alto, sax. It was so easy because so we could see who's going to get high and who that way. All the way to England, I was wondering, how's Joe going to sing this part, man? And he got there. Well, you know what? I didn't think about it. Probably till it was over. I had no voice. I used to go through the rest of the little tour. And all the BBC interviews, they wanted us to sing. So I had to use experience to try to get that stuff. But I think that it has a lot to do with your attitude. If I was working national boards, I would be preparing myself for that job. But I'm working out here on the streets, and I know that the Isley Brothers are out there. Aretha Franklin is out there. I know Marvin Gaye is out there. The Temptations, no excuse not to be on my game. And when you put yourself in that frame of mind and say, okay, I'm in that game. A lot of folks in that game and they'll sit down on it because they take it for granted. If you don't take it for granted, it'll never let you down. That's right. We walked it, just a walk it. And I be saying, Joe, let's sing this part. I told you, no. Joe, let's just do a little bit of it. Man, ask me again, and I'm leaving you. So, I've never messed up in 50 years. I never Joe made those things.
The poster that says, when you stumble, you get part of the dance.
Yeah, and right. Yeah, that's what he told me. Yeah. Stumbling, right.
When you're on the stage, you got the front round. You are the focal point. So if you take those focal points and work those focal points, they're the way that you're trying to deliver. So if your message is a positive message and your frame of mind is there, it's writing a song. You know, when I write a song, I try to stay within that song. And I try to talk about in those 2 minutes. You always give yourself those 2 minutes to write a song. And in those 2 minutes, you got to get from the beginning to the apex to the bottom. And normally they take off, rise, and land in 2 minutes. So that's what I do. So when you're aware of life, and in the story, we just trying a long time ago with Norman, we're going to try to write this song way back before Motown left Detroit, and it's called Life. We were doing the part for Richard Pryor and the Pointer Sisters for the car wash movie. And the Norman was in Vegas, and Norman, we always in the room together. And Norman would look over and say, you got your life book up here, you got your one line, you got to live it. Looking at the life, you got to live it. I can't write it. If I'm missing, how are you going to write it when you're dead? That's all the question. We got a caller coming in, so we'll take the call.
Go ahead, caller. I'll tell you something. When you notice that the more you let people who know how to do something, it's just like you're listening to professional entertainers, professional singers. A lot of times, the questions that you may have had, if you just listen to them talk, they answer them before you ask them. That's the thing that I've learned, and that is when you are in the presence of one who knows more of the subject than you, talk and listen much, because they are the fountain that's full, and we have the cup that's empty. So that's why you didn't hear me interrupt them. Just here, and a lot of the questions I had, they answered while I was, just listening. So I'm not cutting you off. But
The caller was talking about whether or not we were going to record in Detroit. My biggest records were recorded in Detroit. Wherever I go, I mean, I think Detroit is the crucial place for musicians. Yes, musicians. Oh boy, up the yang here in Detroit. So, and they're creative. It's just a talent here in Detroit. And to be able to capture that essence, why would I want to go anywhere else to do what I do? I mean, we're going to be doing it, so I want it to be a full circle of full participation of Detroit. Because right now, Detroit needs us better than we ever needed Detroit. Wow. Yes, indeed. It's in some ways that I could talk a lot of my friends who got famous recording in Detroit to come back here and to pump up the musical celebrity part of the things that we did in Detroit. I would do it.
but it would have to be, they would have to feel like I feel. I mean, nobody could tell me, or have to tell me what I had to do. Somebody on Facebook, I was on Facebook, and I was ranting and raving about all the folks in Detroit just letting these folks tear Detroit down and destroy it. And one guy came on and was a white guy. He was like, well, when did you get back to Detroit? Huh? And I was in California. I was 30, so I was like looking at the ocean. I said, well, I'm not back in Detroit. How are you making all those? But I thought about it for a few days, and a week later I was in Detroit. I just moved. Let it alone, and then it was laid there for me. I just already met with Jack, you know, and we were talking about doing some things. So I came back, and we started doing that. And once I got back here, it was just natural. You know, I felt like that there were no walls closing in on me. It's about being able to be in a creative. So people look at those places like empire. I mean, I've been in the record business all my life. I have never, ever seen any record business handled like none of that things the way people want to write about. It lets me know that, you know, I like program, but some of those folks on there are friends of mine. I mean, let's get it right. Don't twist it. It's all twisted. You know, I mean, we had the very first female record owner in the world, Johnny Ray Matthews, had a record company back here in the day. And when I got out of high school, I ran into, like I said, the folks that I ran into, and eventually was in the studio with Johnny Ray Matthews. No. It was all about the music. It was all about the rhythm. It was all about how, you know, Little Jim's poem. How you write that song? I don't want that. I need something that's real. I need stories that people can relate to. I need something that people can lift up on. Something that's going to be bluesy or whatever it was to the point. Because not all these different windows about the way the record business should be and the way an artist should be. But the artist is made up by the folks that got in this. You know, so no record company can really put an act together. They can really take that act and do what it's to get the market. But that act has to have the ability to see, to be able to see. It's like what the OJ and there's very few who's left. I saw 3 years ago was in California. I saw the meeting. I was so impressed. And I was saying, these guys, I used to see these guys in the movies when I was in today. They still song and perform and carry that class, you know, that it made me be what I wanted to do.
Well, let me just say this, Joe. I have to stop you right there. You were in the movies. Last season, I'm looking at opportunities in there. President, and all of a sudden I hear, so it's not like you're not in the movies, kid. Come on, man, you've been in the movies so many times.
Well, I mean, you know, and well, those things, I mean, I'm just speaking about, you know, pop culture today, and the sense that the things that make us popular for. I mean, there's no one, I can't think of anyone that can outdo music in anything.
And if you don't feel that way about yourself, then you need to go into another business.
And to make it be what it's supposed to be, it's still here. It's still here. We can still
Well, I want to say, I know we're just about out of time here. And I want to say that I'm glad that we did get to make it. And I'm I think that they're going to tell me, getting this feedback here, brother. Would you kind of ice that? We're going to try to go on and get that DVD so that I can show some of what happened at the induction ceremony. And I want all of you to remember, just because all of us can't sing or be entertainers, that's no need to be jealous of the people. Whatever gift that some of us have, we can rejoice that some of us have that gift. And when we want to hear some good music, we know who to go to. And when we want some engineers, we need to know who to go to. When we want some scientists, we need to know who to go to. And a nation is made up of many talented people in many different areas. And so this is what we got to get out of. We got to get out of jealousy and envy. And we got to get into being proud of one another for the gifts that each of us have that we are using and sharing with one another in the way, just like these brothers and sisters came on and they've been sharing music with us. Their talent has been shared with us. They're able to make a living at doing something that they love. That's what helps us to live longer. That's what helps us to have a peaceful life. It's not in the stuff that we accumulate that we get peace. It is in being able to do what we are gifted inside of ourselves to do. The freedom to do that and getting paid for it is a fringe benefit. But, the thing is finding what you are able to do, and then the leadership's job is to put you in a position where you can do that and make a living. That is what good leadership is for. That is what that so-called American dream is about. It's for letting a man not just have a dream, but to wake up and be able to fulfill his dream. Do you understand? Okay. I think Brother Joe, I thank Sister Daisy, and I thank Aki. And I forgot the other brother's name. You can give me his name.
Raheem the Dream.
Brother Raheem the Dream. And I thank you all. And I'll look forward to talking with you all some more next Sunday. And
Thank you so much. Thank you, son. We appreciate all of you.
We appreciate you. May God bless you and keep you safe.
Thank you very much.
May Allah's Assalamu alaikum.
Your conference recording has stopped. Your conference recording is stopped.